All right, let's dive into one of the most important questions you'll face on your AQA GCSE Chemistry paper, that big 6-mark practical method question. We're going to break down question 3 from a recent paper. But here's the key. We're using the official mark scheme as our roadmap. I'm going to show you exactly how to build that perfect full mark answer.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll figure out what the question is really asking. Then, we'll literally build the perfect answer, step by step, straight from the mark scheme. After that, we'll knock out the quick follow-up question, and finally, we'll wrap it all up into a blueprint you can use every single time.
Before you even think about writing an answer, you have to know exactly what they want from you. It sounds obvious, but it's always the first and honestly, the most critical step.
And here it is, question 3.1. This is a classic one, right? It's not just about what you've memorized, it's testing if you can think like a scientist. Can you lay out a logical, safe, and effective plan from scratch?
So what does that really mean? Well, think of it this way. The examiner wants a recipe, a clear, numbered plan that anyone could walk into a lab and follow to get the right result. The mark scheme, that's the instruction card they're checking you against. Our job is to give them exactly what's written on it.
Okay, let's get into it and build this thing. We're going to put it together piece by piece, and we'll be pulling the exact wording from the AQA mark scheme. This is the checklist the examiner uses, so why not use it to our advantage? First things first, the reactants. The question gives you zinc carbonate and says you need to make zinc chloride. So which acid is going to give you a chloride salt? It has to be hydrochloric acid. The very first point on the mark scheme is for simply stating, use zinc carbonate and hydrochloric acid. That's 1 mark in the bag already. Easy.
Now for the simple, practical steps. What do you actually do? The mark scheme is looking for the basics. You need to say you add zinc carbonate to the acid. It's also great practice to mention your equipment. So say you'll do it in a beaker. And of course, you've got to stir it to get things moving. Okay, pay close attention here, because this next point is absolutely crucial. This is where a lot of people miss out. The question asks for pure crystals. That means you can't have any acid left over. And the only way to be sure all the acid is gone is to continue adding until the zinc carbonate is in excess. This step is a must-have. Now here's what's really cool. It's not enough to just write the word excess. You have to show you know what that actually looks like in a lab. The mark scheme is super specific. You get marks for describing what you'd see. It's shown by excess solid at the bottom of the beaker and no more effervescence. That's just the fancy science word for no more fizzing.
Right, the reaction is done. But now our beaker has the zinc chloride solution we want mixed with all that leftover solid we don't. So how do we separate them? The mark scheme needs you to state the exact process. You filter the reaction mixture, specifically, to remove the excess zinc carbonate.
So we have our pure solution, but it's pretty watery. To get crystals, we need to concentrate it. The mark scheme says the next step is to heat the solution. And look, it even gives a mark for mentioning safety using a water bath or electric heater. You heat it just enough to reach the crystallization point, which is that magic moment when it's ready to form crystals as it cools. And here we are, the home stretch. This is how we get those pure, dry crystals the question demanded. Once it's ready, you just leave the solution to crystallize. Then, to get them dry, you gently pat crystals dry with filter paper. And that's it, a full, logical method that hits every single point on the mark scheme. That is a guaranteed 6-marker. Whew, the heavy lifting is over. Now, let's quickly grab these next 2 marks. They're a nice little test of your broader knowledge of how acids react. So here's question 3.2. We just used zinc carbonate. The question is basically asking, okay, what else could you have used to start with? What other substances react with acid to make zinc chloride? And the mark scheme gives you 3 perfect answers here. You could use the metal itself, so just zinc. You could use a metal oxide, which is zinc oxide, or you could use a metal hydroxide, zinc hydroxide. The question only asks for 2, so just pick any 2 from this list, and those marks are yours. Okay, so we've walked through this one question piece by piece, just following the mark scheme's lead. Now, let's zoom out and turn this whole thing into a reusable blueprint you can take into your exam for any method question. Think of it as a 4-step strategy. 1. Structure your answer around the big 3 stages of making a salt. React, then filter, then crystallize. 2. Use the proper scientific words the examiner is looking for. 3. Don't just say what you're doing, always explain why. And 4, name your equipment to show you're picturing a real experience.
And this, right here, is the most important takeaway. The mark scheme isn't some secret document. It's the recipe. It tells you the exact ingredients and the exact steps you need for a perfect score. Your job is simply to follow it.
So, the next time you see a 6-mark method question, don't panic, don't guess, just remember this blueprint. Break it down into the core stages, use the right language, explain your reasons, and build your answer step by step. You know exactly what they're looking for.